Hello class, welcome to this week's filmmaking lesson. This is not an April Fool's joke, but I have to tell you about the anime. First off is Hitori Bochi no Maru Maru Seikatsu. It's an anime production team that has to do with Crunchyroll, but Crunchyroll doesn't stream Hitori Bochi no Maru Maru Seikatsu, and Sentai Filmworks doesn't come up with the streaming services to Hitori Bochi no Marumaru Seikatsu, but Ayotron Cat Steady was licensed by Sentai Filmworks instead. So, without further ado, let's get on to the sponsor video. The sponsor video is about April Spring, but April Spring is just a sponsor video. So when the April Spring comes out, then the April Spring is just how the sponsor video is. You can play around the grass, you can do the Easter egg hunt, that's a lot of things. And besides, I wear my school uniform just to keep me safe, just to keep it safe to make it winter. But it was spring after all, so yeah. And a video logo will be unknown, but I was just thinking video logo will be nothing to do with this. So I don't know what the video logo is, but it's kind of good. So the video logo should be a monstrosity. Monstrosity is just how it is. Yeah, monstrosity is just a video logo, right? Alright, now let's do home video releases. So it's the first one, so let's look it up. Let's go to 2019 home video, and we'll show up on Wikipedia like this. It has multiple issues, yeah, how we know. Okay, we done this. Yeah, we done this. I'll show you what I mean, okay? Alright, here's April 2. But there's one thing I have to know. Even though this is the mule and everything, I'll show you. This is Bumblebee. Bumblebee is just a film, but it's created by Mallow, so here's the plot to this film. On Cybertron, the Autobot resistance, led by Optimus Prime, is on the verge of losing the civil war against the Decepticons and prepare to evacuate the planet. A Decepticon force, led by Sunwave and Shockwave, intercepts them during the evacuation, and Optimus sends Autobot Scout B-127 to Earth on an escape pod in order to set up a base of operations where the Autobots can regroup. In 1987, B-127 reaches Earth alone, crash landing in California and disrupting a training exercise by Sector 7, a secret government agency that monitors extraterrestrial activity on Earth. Colonel Jack Burns presumes B-127 to be a hostile invader and attacks him. B-127 scans a Willis MB Jeep and flees into the forest, where Blitzwing, a Decepticon seeker, ambushes him when B-127 refuses to reveal Optimus's whereabouts. Blitzwing tears out his voice box and damages his memory core. Despite this, B-127 stabs and kills him with one of his own missiles. Before collapsing from his injuries, B-127 scans a nearby 1967 Volkswagen Beetle. Meanwhile, teenager Charlie Watson remains traumatized by the death of her father and resentful of her mother, Sally, for moving on too quickly with a boyfriend named Ron. Charlie finds a yellow Volkswagen Beetle in a scrapyard belonging to Hank, who gives it to her as an 18th birthday present. When trying to start it, Charlie unknowingly activates a homing signal that is detected by Decepticons Shatter and Dropkick as they interrogate and execute the Autobot cliff jumper on one of Saturn's moons. The pair heads to Earth, where they gain Earth vehicle forms and pretend to be peacekeepers, persuading Dr. Powell and the rest of Sector 7, despite Burns' disagreement, to help them find and capture B-127. Whom they claim is a fugitive and a traitor. While Charlie attempts to fix the Beetle, it transforms into B-127, whom she befriends and nicknames Bumblebee. She then unknowingly unlocks a message from Optimus urging Bumblebee to defend the Earth in their absence, which restores some of his memories. Bumblebee is discovered by Charlie's neighbor Memo, who agrees to protect their secret due to his feelings for Charlie. Left alone, Bumblebee accidentally destroys Charlie's home and causes an emergency energy spike that attacks Sector 7's attention. While Sally blames Charlie for the destruction, Charlie finally expresses her pain over her father's death and eagerly leaves with Bumblebee and Memo, only to be intercepted by Sector 7 and the Decepticons. Bumblebee is captured while Charlie and Memo are returned home. Charlie convinces her brother Otis to cover for her and Memo as they follow Burns to the Sector 7 outpost where Bumblebee is being held. Shatter and Dropkick torture Bumblebee into revealing the Autobots' whereabouts. Discovering that the Autobots are coming to Earth, they leave him for dead after revealing their plan to bring the Decepticons to Earth. After alerting Burns to the truth about the Decepticons, Dr. Powell is killed by Dropkick. Charlie electroshocks Bumblebee back to life, restoring his memories. After finding past Burns' obstruction and attempt to re-secure Bumblebee with the help of Memo, Sally, Ron, and Otis, Charlie and Bumblebee set out to prevent Shatter and Dropkick from contacting the Decepticons using a radio tower at a nearby harbor. Burns also intervenes and defends Charlie. His helicopter is shot down by Shatter, but Burns is saved by Bumblebee. While Bumblebee fights Dropkick, he binds him with a chain, entangling his systems when he transforms and Bumblebee rips him apart. Charlie deactivates the Decepticon beacon, causing an enraged Shatter to pursue her. Bumblebee destroys a dam wall, triggering a flood that causes a cargo ship to crush Shatter into the docks. Killing her, Burns, having a change of heart and grateful towards Bumblebee, gives him and Charlie time to escape before the army arrives. Charlie and Bumblebee arrive on a cliff overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge, where Charlie, realizing that Bumblebee has a greater purpose on Earth, says goodbye. Bumblebee scans a 1977 Chevrolet Camaro and drives away, and Charlie reunites with her family and Memo. Now using his new name, Bumblebee reunites with Optimus Prime. Prime praises Bumblebee for keeping Earth safe as they watch more Autobots arrive through Earth's atmosphere. Meanwhile, Charlie finally finishes repairing the Corvette she and her father were working on and drives off into the sunset. Okay, that's Bumblebee. Also, there was Bumblebee. Well, actually, it's really called Milo for the first one. Now we're gonna do the mule. The mule's just how it is. Here's a plot to this film. Earl Stone in his 80s As an award-winning horticulturist and Korean War veteran in Peoria, Illinois, he is facing financial ruin and is estranged from his ex-wife Mary and daughter Iris. For always putting work before family, he's still on friendly terms with his granddaughter Jeannie. Desperate for money, he becomes a mule transporting cocaine through Illinois for Mexican drug cartel. Facing little suspicion due to his age, race, spotless criminal history, and strict adherence to driving laws, Earl is soon trusted with huge amounts of drugs and paid large amounts of cash. With the money he obtains from drug running, he buys a new truck, settles his financial problems, pays for renovations of the local VFW post and his granddaughter's wedding and education. He becomes friendly with the cartel members who call him Tata, grandfather. Meanwhile, a Drug Enforcement Administration (DEA) task force is narrowing on the cartel's deliveries to Chicago. Tensions within the cartel erupt when a power-hungry lieutenant assassinates the boss and subsequently demands Earl be kept under tighter control. In the middle of a large cocaine shipment, Earl learns that Mary is gravely ill. He postpones the drug delivery to make peace with Mary before her death, which provokes the cartel's ire. He resumes the delivery as the DEA and the cartel close in on him. Earl is beaten and threatened by the cartel's enforcers, but they relent after learning of his ex-wife's passing. As he makes his way towards the drop point, he is arrested by the DEA agents. When Earl pleads guilty to all charges and is sent to prison, his family show him their support. In prison, he returns to his horticulture. Okay, that's the mule. So next we're going to do Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase. Actually, it's a 2019 film. Here's the plot to this film. 16-year-old sleuth Nancy Drew and her father Carson relocate from Chicago to rural River Heights following her mother's death, following a number of incidents, the latest being an online prank on the jock after he humiliates one of Nancy's friends. She is sentenced to community service. Nancy soon comes to the aid of an elderly woman needing help with a supernatural presence. Nancy goes to sleep over at Flora. The elderly woman needing help along with her niece, Helen Corning, who is Nancy's arch rival. That night, strange things begin to happen, like things floating and coming to live. The cabinet doors are and draws open, and the shadow cloak figure appeared and warns Nancy to give up her mystery. Okay, that's Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase. Let's take a look up on Vice. Here's a plot to this film. Vice is narrated by Kurt, a fictitious veteran of the Afghanistan and Iraq wars. The film opens with Dick Cheney and other White House officials and staff responding to the September 11, 2001 attacks. The film then flashes back to Wyoming in 1963, where Cheney finds work as a lineman after his struggles with alcohol led him to drop out of Yale University after Cheney is stopped by a traffic cop for driving while intoxicated. His wife Lynn Cheney convinces him to clean up his life. The film flashes forward to 1969 when Cheney finds work as a White House intern during the Nixon administration. Working under Nixon's economic advisor, Donald Rumsfeld, Cheney becomes a savvy political operative as he juggles commitments to his wife and their daughters. Liz and Mary. Cheney overhears Henry Kissinger discussing the secret bombing of Cambodia with President Richard Nixon, revealing the true power of the executive branch of Cheney. Rumsfeld's abrasive attitude leads to him and Cheney being distanced from Nixon, which works in both men's favor. After Nixon's resignation, Cheney rises to the position of White House Chief of Staff for President Gerald Ford, while Rumsfeld becomes Secretary of Defense. The media later dubs the sudden shake-up in the cabinet as a Halloween massacre. After Ford is voted out of office, Cheney runs to be representative for Wyoming. After giving an awkward and uncharacteristic campaign speech, Cheney suffers his first heart attack. While he recovers, Lynn campaigns on her husband's behalf, helping him to win a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives during the Reagan administration. Cheney supports a raft of conservative, pro-business policies favoring the fossil fuel industries. Cheney next serves as Secretary of Defense under President George H. W. Bush. During the Gulf War, outside the politics, Cheney and Lynn come to terms with their younger daughter Mary, coming out as lesbian, though Cheney develops ambitions to run for president. He decides to retire from public life to spare Mary from media scrutiny. During the presidency of Bill Clinton, Cheney becomes the CEO of Halliburton, while his wife raises golden retrievers and writes books. A false epilogue claims that Cheney lived the rest of his life healthy and happy in the private sector, and credits begin rolling, only for the film to continue. Cheney is invited to become running mate to George W. Bush during the 2000 United States presidential election, recognizing that the younger Bush is more interested in pleasing his father than attaining power for himself. Cheney agrees on the condition that Bush delegates mundane executive responsibilities such as energy and foreign policy to him. As Vice President, Cheney works with Secretary of Defense Rumsfeld, Legal Counsel David Eddington, and the Chief of Staff Scooter Libby to exercise control of key foreign policy and defense decisions throughout Washington. The film returns to the aftermath of the September 11 attacks as Cheney and Rumsfeld maneuver to initiate and then preside over the U.S. invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq, resulting in the killing of civilians and the torture of prisoners. As the war on terror mounts, Cheney continues to struggle with president heart attacks. The film also covers various events from his vice presidency, including his endorsement of the unitary executive theory, the plane affair, the accidental shooting of Harry Whittington, and tensions between the Cheney sisters over same-sex marriage. Cheney's actions are shown to lead to thousands of deaths and the rise of the Islamic State of Iraq, resulting in him receiving record low approval ratings by the end of the Bush administration. While narrating Cheney's tearful deathbed goodbye to his family after another hospitalization. Kurt is killed in a motor accident while jogging in March 2012. His healthy heart is transplanted into Chidi. A few months later, Chidi acquiesces to his daughter Liz's, saying she is opposed to same-sex marriage, and when she runs for a Senate seat in Wyoming, leaving Mary angry and upset. Liz later wins the election to her father's former congressional position. At the end of the film, an irate Cheney breaks the fourth wall and delivers a monologue to the audience, stating that he has no regrets about anything he has done in his career. A mid-credit scene depicts a focus group descending into chaos when a right-winger slams the film itself as biased and attacks a perceived liberal panelist, while two younger panelists discuss the Fast and the Furious movie. Okay, that's all I got for today. So, it's made by Annapurna Pictures, Plan B Entertainment, and Gary Sanchez Productions. Alright, that's all the home videos we got. So second, we're going to do Emma Monkey Pictures and Roman Cow Productions and Duncan G's Company shorts. So, it's about April Fool's Day. Today is April Fool's Day. So, in April Fool's Day, there was a big house that was really a prank. So when a guy is outside, he saw a giant house was built a huge wall with a huge door and a huge windows and a huge chimney. So when a guy comes in, he usually sees the giant house, but this was a prank. So the house was floating up to the sky as a balloon, and he looks down to see what's going on. He was too high to see down there. So, yep, the windows is pretty big. So he looks down and see other houses in the neighbors. So he was scared. So he might want to jump off the house and commit suicide. So when he commits suicide, the blood was driven to the ground and splattered all over the road. And so that was a never-ending story. So this is April Fool's joke. That's from the balloon of the house floating up. It was just a prank. So, yeah. So, that's all the shorts we got. So third, it's about Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Yeah, it's about the anime we just going to do. It's called Io-chan Can Study. But we all know that Hitori Bochi and no Manamaru Seikatsu will be out on April 5th, but Crunchyroll doesn't stream, or Sentai Filmworks doesn't stream, or Funimation doesn't stream. So it will be streaming by today. So the Crunchyroll will show up. The Hitori Bochi no Manamaru Seikatsu will be on Crunchyroll to stream, or Funimation to stream, or Sentai Filmworks to stream. Anyway, so yeah. That's all I got for today. Let's do some work right now.